But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to CVRcade World Cup Zone T Racing on Mixer. I am your commentator tonight, Beth York. I am in for Jesper, who commented on two crazy zones earlier today, and I think everyone had to take some notes to see what they're going to do in this 5-race omnium. Now, we've got 5 different races. They each have a different multiplier, and they all will be asking the racers to bring something different to the party. And of course, it all wraps up on Summit Islands, which means you need to bring your climbing legs to the party. But we have got a great roster of riders warming up here with about 3 minutes to go. We've got Jennifer Garcia warming up. We've got Modi Pekelny warming up here. We've got Luis and Daniel. We've got a full-on mix of Team Cognition out here on course. And you know that they are in the team chat. Whoa, little bit there, leaning in, coming onto the bike here, saying, I've got a couple minutes, maybe fixing a mechanical here. But with 3 minutes to go in the first race, brings us on Aqua Velo. Now, Aqua Velo is a short course, but we do have the ability of uncrashable, which is on. Now, sometimes that can be a power up, but in this course, it's tonight, this race, it will be an ability, which means the racers cannot crash. Quantum Shift is also an ability, so that you'll see that the riders will phase through one another. This is one of our low skill events, and they go low skill, medium skill, high skill, so that these racers have to bring different mix, different skill sets. And what we've seen in this, quote, low or no skill event is that it's actually becoming quite skilled. And by that, I mean, they have a comeback kit, and how they use that comeback kit and where is making all the difference on the sprint finish. With 2 minutes to go, let's see if Jennifer is available to talk, because she and her teammate have been, Aaron's not with her tonight, so I'm wondering if she's feeling a little bit left without Aaron tonight, how she's going to play this. We've seen them work so well together. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. I don't have Aaron. I don't have my dad. I have a massive lag occurring. So tonight could be a rough one for me, but I'm really hoping the technical difficulty sorts itself out and I can still, even without that teamwork, get any place whatsoever. And if not, hopefully it'll be a good workout tonight.
Well, Jennifer, I will be keeping an eye on you. I'll let you see if you can resolve some of that mechanical stuff going on right now. Also, good luck to you as well. I'm not worried that you don't have Aaron, because you are a smart racer and I know you're going to bring it. Let's check in with Modi if he's available to talk a little bit about Team Cognition here. Now, oftentimes with a minute to go, he's in the team car. Hard to tell if he's listening to me or the team. Hey, Modi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We saw Allison, Team Cognition, absolutely crush it in earlier races. What did she give you on the recon for tonight?
Oh, I was watching both of those races. So Allison took third and Sebastian from Team Cognition took third in the second Omnium at lunch. So I watched them suffer a ton, good cooperation, a lot of great racing. It was cool to hear commentary also from Casey Shum earlier. And now we're going to repeat that amount of suffering and then some for the next hour and 15 minutes. I'm really excited.
All right. Well, you've got 30 seconds. I'll let you get back in with your team to plot the attack out of the gate here. Good luck to Team Cognition. You can also see his teammate Daniel is in the mix here. Luis, his teammate, is also streaming into the broadcast tonight. Always give me a nice wave there, Luis. I know you can hear me. We're 10 seconds to go, and they are ready to get out of the gate in 5 seconds. You see Nigel, Team CCC, up out of the saddle, ready to bring it. He has been showing up in force, bringing a lot lot of power to his racing here on Zone T. Always a very animated, fun rider to watch in here. And as these guys start to get organized, they are sprinting out of the gate, and they do need to get all together in the lane and make sure that they do not lose the draft, because this is one, if you actually lose connection right away, it looks like Daniel's further down, activating his comeback kid, that group just starts to accelerate and they are gone. But Nigel here on the front with Modi and Jennifer, Luis, Kayla, Anish, all of these guys are here at the front, and Daniel is making his way back, executed his comeback kid, trying to make connection with that front group, but those 3 or 4 seconds turn into 5 or 6 awfully fast. And the racers who are in the front, if you haven't raced this particular race before, the racers in the front are getting 60, 70, 80, sometimes 95% draft here. So their legs tend to spin out a little bit. There's a lot less resistance on the pedals despite the speed that they're going, because they're benefiting from the draft and the whole pack is moving faster. So if you do lose those 5 or 6 seconds, it's really, really hard to make those up. You can see here, Modi is dropping his comeback kid here. He's off the back just by a second or two, does not want to get caught. He does come and he closes it, and he might power right on through and continue. That's the move we've seen from Modi. He drops off the back, lets the resistance hit on his pedals a little bit so he can add a little bit power, because the wind hits you in the face. You feel that resistance on your pedals. It gets harder to pedal. Then you can really lay down the power. Jennifer, not to be caught out, 300 equalized watts with her comeback kid chasing around. This is side by side. The man on the front and the woman in hot pursuit here. Oh, 1 second separates them with that comeback kid. And I think Jennifer's going to slingshot around him for the finish. Does she do it? She does. Time it right around Modi. Now he timed it so well. And then Jennifer has been taking notes from her teammate. Aaron, here is the replay. She can see what's going on. She sees that Modi does the comeback kid. Modi goes through, he continues, he's hammering on it, over 1,000, 1,200 equalized watts, and then she matches that move and times it oh so perfectly. Side by side they are, and she is digging in, and she comes through right at the end, has the momentum in her favor. The comeback kid does deactivate when she crosses him, but it's in time and it happens before the line. That is well executed timing. Jennifer, well played, my friend.
Hello.
Looks like you got it sorted.
Yeah, they magically sorted themselves out. So I was very happy about that. Not complaining at all. I actually was thankful, because usually you go in and everyone's in a pack, and comeback kid is not as helpful because there's not as big a gap, but Modi had that huge gap, which really helped with comeback kid for everyone. So it was good.
Well, congratulations. You've got about 3 minutes left here to go before we can see you here on the finish, dropping that comeback kid at just the right time, and taking away the points. Now, that's one-time multiplier. That's the low skill event. We come into mountain bike by Jesper, a few less lanes, some obstacles on the side, and one corner. And you do have power-ups in the mix, a power plant and a wind at your back. How do you see those shaking out?
Yeah, those will definitely be helpful. After that, like you said before, that one little divot, really good place to use the power-ups. And you said we have one of each, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, you only get it once. You definitely have to time it wisely. So depending on where my position is in the beginning, might have to use it to get back. Hopefully I can save them to use them to help in the end, but we'll see.
All right. Well, I'll let you regroup. 2 minutes to go. Good luck to you, Jennifer. Let's check in with Modi, who may have had it except for the last 10 meters there. Modi, that was quite a finish. Lots of power down. And in the end, she just timed it a little bit better. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was in your grasp.
That was perfect gameplay. Jennifer really did that perfectly. That should not be called a no-skill event. Doing what she did is extremely difficult. She did it against us, and we had numbers, so it was a really great victory for her. I had no chance when she timed it so well, and she put in a huge effort too. So it was a good win, and now we're going to do it again on mountain bike by Jesper.
All right. Well, good luck. I will let you get into the pin with 1:30 here to go. I'll let you get in with your riders. We've also got Nigel in the stream here. He's sitting in the third step right after the first. There, Nigel, you took third on that last one. What are we going to see here on mountain bike by Jesper?
Oh, I think it's going to be full gas. Everyone's just going to go hard out from the start and just try and hang in there.
And we have to watch the corner as always, and we know how to play that corner. Do you think that they're going to see a massive dump of power ups out of the gate?
Possibly, or people will hang on to them and try and save them for the last lap, but who knows? But well
nice.
played to Jennifer in that last race.
She really did a nice job timing that. She's been being a really good study. You've got about 30 seconds to go. I'll let you get back into the game mindset, and I will free you up here. We've got Luis also in the mix here, teammates with Modi. So we will see what Luis will bring to the table here. Can work together. Also has Daniel in the mix also. So we've got 3 cognition riders, and they were all going to be off in 10 seconds. So what we will see, strong out of the gate. There's just a few less lanes on this, so people do have to mind their lane position here, and up out of the saddle they go. And we see Nigel right on the front, dumps his power plant, which gives you an extra 100 watts so that he can really make that break. But Jennifer, not to be counted out, takes the front, realizes she needs to answer in the power. She brought the legs tonight. You can see further down, Modi is dropping his power, but Nigel is not letting Jennifer get out of his sights. Luis coming up alongside of Nigel with Anish behind him. Nigel staying there on the inside. Wise move here. He's just going to keep his own lane. He doesn't dare take the draft and let's get blocked. But Jennifer on the front is all offense. There's no blocking being done by Jennifer. Jennifer is just on the move here. Luis is benefiting from the draft being on Jennifer's wheel, wisely saying, you know what, I will take the toe. You want it more than me. I have teammates that I can come help. I will conserve. I'm going to race this smart. I'm in communication with Modi, who can get back. You can see Kim and Anish in between those 2 riders there. But oh no, does it look like, did Jennifer take a little digger? We did see that. She did have to come back up to speed here. She does drop her razor's edge, trying to come back to speed. Sorry, wind at her back. But she does need to make sure she doesn't carry that through the corner. So she uses it to get back up to speed, but quickly has to slow down, and then she does get past there along the side here. But all is not lost for Jennifer. She just has about 10 seconds to make up, which she can easily do because I've seen her do much. I've seen her do these massive efforts, but that means Nigel's on the front with Luis while Jennifer's trying to make up that time. Luis, Nigel, Modi just a couple seconds back from his teammate there that's holding down the front, and he is just going to slide in right behind Nigel here. Modi's going to try to slide right behind Nigel here, and Nigel is, if he's wise, he's going to take the points. He's not going to necessarily worry about Modi so much. He's just going to try to protect his position here, try to hang on to the front and get as many points as he can. Right now, if they finish in the position, that's the score. You would see Luis pick up some points, Nigel being second, and Modi take third. If they finish in this position, but you can see that Nigel's not going to let Luis just walk away with it here. He's coming around. He knows what he needs to do. He's coming around on the outside here. Luis is also, he's got one hand. He's sitting there putting it on the brake, knowing he needs to slow down here. Both of them below 30. 32. That is the max speed on the corner. You do need to watch that speed. And when you brake, sometimes people over brake and sometimes people overcook it. And that's sort of the heat of the moment. Like, how much are you feeling the heat of the moment? 2.4 kilometers to go on this race here. Back on board with Jennifer, who has made up some time, just about 7 seconds between her and Modi. So she did use her wind at her back to get that initially up to speed. And she's on the chase further up the road there. She knows that they're just out of reach, but she also knows this is race 2 of 5 races. So if she can maintain that 4th position, this has a 2 times multiplier, but she's got Rocky Mountain, which is really her wheelhouse coming up. 2 laps of Rocky Mountain coming up. And so she can pick up a lot of points on that. So right now she can protect her position. She can just stay ahead of Kayla. She can stay ahead of the other riders and hang into that position without blowing herself up and maybe conserving suffering a little bit to go into the next race. But here we are side by side. We've got Modi up the front there behind his teammate by a few seconds. Luis is on the chase for Nigel. Luis just overtakes him. They're just dancing on the front, but Jennifer is still trying to connect with Modi, saying, I'm going to try to get to you anyway. We've seen these racers go head to head on Zone T week after week, and Modi's up out of the saddle trying to make sure he doesn't lose his teammate because he doesn't want Jennifer to take any points away from him. Right now, Jennifer and Modi third and fourth in the standings for the night so far. But here we are back on board with Nigel coming around those other players. Luis is in the lead. Nigel up out of the saddle, not wanting to lose connection. 1.4 kilometers to go, just a couple laps to go. And these guys are going to be duking it out. If Luis finishes in front of Nigel, he takes more points on this two-time multiplier. But it does look like, if some of the points get disrupted on the backside here, nope, I think it's just between Luis and Nigel, 1 and 2. This out of 2 races though, and there are 5 races, so anything can happen. So being wise, being smart, taking as many points as you can on this higher skill event is very wise. 1 kilometer to go, so no mistakes. No one can afford to make mistakes here on this. 1 kilometer to go. Nigel in the lead here into the corner, slowing down enough here. Both of the riders down 30-29, taking it extra cautious, not taking any chances, starting that acceleration when they are clear of the corner. We've seen people take that corner and then accelerate just too early before they've straightened out. And even though they did not exceed the corner speed entering the corner, they exceeded the corner speed exiting the corner. So it's not just enough to slow down. It's not just enough. You can't coast through it. You actually have to just be like keeping your foot on the pedal. And it's a technique. It's harder than these guys make it look. Nigel on the front, 425 equalized watts, 192 on his heart rate. 200 being the max heart rate that these guys can put out. So everybody's heart rate is equalized to 200. So the max effort is 200. There we go. Back up out of the saddle. Luis drops his power plant. He is unloading his power ups, making sure that he comes up on Nigel, comes around Nigel. Nigel does not want to take the block move, but he does step in front of him here. So he didn't slow him down, but he did control the pace here. 0.1 kilometers to go. They're coming into the corner side by side. Here's the helicopter view on Nigel's view. Luis up out of the saddle, taking the inside line, and Nigel on the outside. So if Luis slides into Nigel, he will wipe it out, but they both come through the corner cleanly, and it is Nigel across the line, followed by Luis. Congratulations, Nigel and Luis. Well fought battle. And then further down the line, just a couple seconds back, is Modi, who will come across the line. And it does look like Jennifer did not make up the time, and I think that that's probably a wise move. She would have spent probably one too many matches here trying to catch Modi, and she knows she's got Rocky Mountain coming up next. So if she conserves for Rocky Mountain, 4th place is, on this race is very respectable. But here's that replay again. Luis up out of the saddle, giving it all he's got. His wind at his back. He's got his power plant, and Nigel does take the lane away, does not let him pass, doesn't slow down the power, just gives him a little bit of a hard time. You're not going to take my draft. You're not going to take my lane. Steps to the outside, knowing that he has the advantage there, because if Luis overcooked it, he would have slid out into Nigel and crashed himself out. But Luis played it smart, and Nigel made it through. We've seen so many close finishes in earlier zones on that corner. It was just amazing. Nigel, congratulations on that well-fought win there on Mountain Bike Course by Jesper. What was going through your mind?
Nobody pass me, please. I was waiting for everyone else to drop their power-ups because I used mine fairly earlier on, so I was waiting for them to come back at me, and Louise did.
Yeah, so he did use them at just, I would say, just the right time, but your experience really shone through there where you were not going to give him lead. You weren't going to cede the position. Super, super well executed, Nigel. Coming into the next race, Rocky Mountain, the highest multiplier. You're sitting on top of the leaderboard right now. What are you thinking as you start this race on Rocky Mountain?
Oh, why do I do it? Why do I ride bikes? Why didn't I take up golf? This is hard. This is a tough one.
Your honesty there is amazing.
Yeah,
You've got one
I watched,
inertia. You've
yeah.
got path of least resistance, a quantum shift, and uncrashable is on. Do you have a strategy that you're willing to share with us?
Oh, get away with the lead and try and hang on to it. Although, when I fired up the event, it only showed uncrashable. It didn't show any power-ups. So I know we're meant to have power-ups, but the dialogue didn't show any. So we'll have to wait and see what we get.
All right. Well, good luck to you. I'll let you catch your breath. About a minute and a half to go. Let me see if I can check in with Louise on that finish before we go into it. Hey, Louise, congratulations on that last battle there. Well played at the end. You were smart not to overcook it. Taking that into this next race. What are we doing?
Yeah, kudos to Nigel. I've actually been watching some of the old CVRcade races from about a year ago, I guess, on YouTube, and been studying Nigel's strategy. So I should have known, because he played it masterfully there. That block, he knows where to move. He knows how to use his power-ups and his positioning. So yeah, it was good. But we're working out the strategy with Marty and Daniel. So we'll see what we come up with here. We have a headwind, right. So for sure something to look out for.
Yes, well, I'll let you take the last 30 seconds to listen to the team car and catch your breath. Congratulations on that well-fought, that second place there. That was so close. So 20 seconds to go. We've got team cognition here trying to put Nigel down. Nigel has a tall order here, but I've seen him absolutely rock this event as well. But we also know that Jennifer, this is her course. She's the favorite in this. In 6 seconds, we're going to see what she's going to do. But she doesn't have any teammates tonight. But for her, it doesn't always matter in this race if she has teammates. She knows how to play the game, and she also knows how to make alliances and allegiances with other riders once you get along the way here. 2 laps on this. It is 2.5 times on the multiplier for the scoreboard here. And as the racers get organized, they do have uncrashable. They do have wind out on course. So they do need to get a little bit organized. But it does look like Luis is a couple seconds up the road making an early press. So I don't think Modi will be chasing that. He's going to let the other riders chase it. He's going to try to tuck in behind the other riders and just let Luis go and see who tries to cover that. If Luis does win this race, which is very early to say that, he would kick Nigel down on the leaderboard, and then Modi would be sliding back into third. I think he's at third right now. So if they finish in this position, so Modi doesn't necessarily have to close it down because he's got his teammate up front. So they're going to see how they play this. Now, will Nigel try to cover that gap? And it doesn't look like anyone's making the move to do that. Modi's looking awfully relaxed, but we've seen Modi be in that position before. When he wants to go, he will just absolutely destroy it. So if Nigel does put on an attack, to try to cover that gap, Modi will be right there to maybe not let him get away with that. You can see the 3 of them there side by side. Now, when there's a little bit of a crosswind, you do get a little bit of the benefit there of the echelon. I do remember when I raced this early, just the way the winds were moving. It was a headwind for the very front part of the course. There was a little bit of a crosswind as you made your way up the Rocky Mountains. So they do have some benefit there. But here, side by side, position 1 and 2 here, Luis does have about 6 seconds on Nigel. Nigel there on the left-hand side and Luis on the right-hand side. Luis looks pretty relaxed, but he is putting down 400 equalized watts. 367 is the magic number on CVRcade. All of these riders, every time they ride, their power curve is recorded. how fast and how hard are they going? What is the watts that they're putting on the pedals for 1 minute, for 20 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes? And that becomes a curve. And all of these curves are normalized to each other so that whether or not, Madi's unequalized watts are not equal to, my equalized watts, we can race together because 367 is what we're all normalized to. So when you see these riders up north of 367, they're over threshold, and that's what Luis did to make his effort stick there. So Luis on the front. We've got Nigel not letting him get too far away. He does have just about 9 or 10 seconds, but he's in a group here with Kim, with Modi, and we know that Modi is not going to be of any help. So if Nigel wants this, he needs to go chase it. But Nigel also knows that, you know what? Second position right now in this place might not be a bad place to finish because he knows he's been doing this racing here on CVRcade, as Luis said, for about a year. So he knows he has sudden lane change. He knows he has Summit Island. He's saying, you know what, Luis, go ahead, knock yourself out. I've got 2 more races to take some points back from you. I'm not going to be sucked into blowing myself up right now. But you do see right here, Nigel activated his power up. That is inertia. He activated that doing 46 kph. So he's able to try to make up some of the speed differential here, down to 7 seconds here. But you have 1 inertia, you have 1 path of least resistance, and 1 quantum shift here. So that was the 1 speed power up that he could use, but he's still going faster than Luis is in front of him. So if you look on the right-hand side, and you can see the speeds that they are traveling right now, Nigel will have to do more speed to make up that 6-second gap. And it looks like he's deciding he's not going to do that right now. But Modi taking the toe up, saying, I will take the toe, because if Nigel says, no, you won't take the toe. No, you won't. But Modi is saying, I am going to serve my teammate well by conserving as much as I can in this race so that I can come back to assist in the future races. Now, it looks like Nigel's made the decision. He's still at 320, 330 equalized watts. That's still a very, very strong effort, and he doesn't want anybody behind him to take those points. But one of the things that we saw in the earlier races, we have some AI riders that are just cruising around at 344. So right now, Nigel's got about 6 seconds back. He's got some of those AI riders behind. And what I did, and not saying you should do this, Nigel, do not take advice from me. You are way far up on the leaderboard compared to me. But what I did was I just said, I'm going to cruise back and do what my friend Allison is doing. And I'm going to cruise with the bots right up the climb. They're doing 344. I had to do like 290. And I tried to save myself. In the end, it wasn't enough for me to save, because I really hurt myself trying initially to close it. So we've got Luis on the front. He's just about 8 seconds up from Nigel. And again, on the leaderboard, the finishing positions were this way. We've got Luis 75, Nigel 65, and Modi 57.5. So really still close in those points. And that means that still anything can happen with sudden lane change. We've seen that in the earlier Omnium today, where the flat tire was just like being thrown all over the place. So these riders know they're going to have some. The flat tire works by someone activates that power up, and everyone except for the person who activates the power up gets a flat tire. So we'll talk about that when we get there in sudden lane change. But people were getting their legs hammered, being slowed down to 0, and then needing to sprint back up to speed, as if sudden lane change isn't cruel enough, but to do it after 2 laps of Rocky Mountain, and then knowing that you have Summit Island on the back end of it, man, this is a tough Omnium. These guys have it out for them tonight. So Luis in the front, still over 367 equalized watts. He is absolutely just trucking along. It's been so fun to watch Luis over the past the past few weeks here. Came to CVRcade, joined up with Team Cognition, just been absolute great personality to have on screen, someone who just digs in and brings it no matter what. But looks like Modi is saying, I'll come with you, man. I'm gonna ditch Nigel. I am just gonna be like, you know what, catch me if you can, and I'm gonna steal some more points. It doesn't necessarily upset the stand. Maybe it does upset the standings a little bit. I'm not saying, maybe it will put him in front there. But it will change things around a little bit. He's just kind of saying, okay, enough's enough. Give him a little bit of hurt, break his spirit a little bit. It's hard to break Nigel's spirit. Nigel's a very spirited man. He has a strategy that's the long game. And but Modi is also very smart with Luis. And as I was saying, that both of these riders, Nigel, Modi, have been around on CVRcade, and they know how to play the game. Luis has been a quick study, so much fun to watch. Nigel's up out of the saddle here. He is again over 367 equalized watts, 178 on his heart rate. So conserving a little bit, but he's got the other riders 10 seconds up the road with 10.7 kilometers to go. So now it's all Modi and Luis trading turns, keeping that gap away from Nigel so they can conserve here. And I think that was the decision probably, where it's like, you know what, if I give one dig, and I'm not going to be benefiting from the draft of Nigel, I'll put a dig in. I'll help my teammate out on these last 10.3 kilometers and be able to just trade drafts. He's been on the front. He's been hammering. Let me give him a pull up the hill. Modi is just an amazing teammate. He's someone you want in your corner, and he'll race with you and he'll help you even when you're not on the same team. Again, until it gets close to the finish line, and then look out, because he will be your friend, and then he will need to have his allegiance to his team at the very end. But he is a selfless rider who on Rocky Mountain has really helped out his teammates in the past year. Side by side, the two team Cognition riders, you see them in person. They're on bikes. Their bikes are connected to smart trainers. Their smart trainers are reading the power, and the power is driving the avatar in the game. And here they are side by side. I did mention it earlier. If you're just joining, this is CVRcade World Cup Zone T. We are in week 3 of the bracket season. We had 4 weeks of the open season, and now we are in the bracketed season, where these racers are racing for points, and the points will put them in position in the leaderboard. And then from that leaderboard, that will decide their seeding. How are they going to be the tournament? Who are they going to be riding against? And that's going to happen the week after next. Yes, so next week is in the States, it's Thanksgiving. We have one more week, and then the week after that, the first week of December, we will be doing the tournament in the finals here. Back on board with Nigel, you can see here that in the finishing position here, if Modi does overtake Luis and some of the other positions there, that Modi will be in the lead. Luis will be second, and Nigel will be third. But I don't think Nigel's too concerned about that, because I think Nigel's playing the long game here. Very cagey, very smart racer. We've seen him do so well on sudden lane change. We saw him do that last week, where he was going head to head with another Cognition rider, Allison Kubota, who they were just trading digs. So I can imagine they're going to light it up. So he knows what's ahead of him. He knows that he's just going to hold that position. He's going to take the points that he can, and he's got 2 more races to really get some more points here and try to steal them from the other. Sudden lane change in Summit Island. Back on board with Luis, still looking relaxed. You can't see his legs moving, but it does look like he's got a nice high tempo going, cadence going on the legs, coming down the hill here before they round the corner and make the second lap around on Rocky Mountain. And it is always so not to just have that little downhill, but even in CVRcade, when you feel the downhill, I was saying this to one of my newer teammates, I saw her avatar stop pedaling on this hill. I'm like, don't stop pedaling. This is not, you're outside, you might cruise down a hill a little bit because you're like taking an opportunity to rest, but on CVRcade there's no opportunity to rest. You just absolutely have to keep the pressure on the pedals. That's lap number 1, Modi and Luis here. So there is wind on course here. A little bit further down, it does look like Nigel has found himself with Kayla. with some of the AI riders, and if he can just kind of take a little bit of a break. I thought I was taking a break when I popped in with those AI riders, but you do still have to give a little bit of dig to hang on to that 344, especially after you did such a hard effort on that first lap. And it's amazing. It's amazing to feel the draft when you are in that position, because you're like, oh, this is so much nicer. So hang on to that draft and see if you can close down some of the buttons. Look at Modi. He is like saying, okay, I'm feeling it a little bit, but I'm going to take this pull here on the front. I'm going to let Luis get a little bit of his legs back here. He really hammered on the first half of that lap here. So Modi is taking on the wind on the front here. 183 and 184 are their heart rates. They're on the front here. So they are in the Hurt Locker, 200 being the max heart rate that these riders would register. So, if your max heart rate is 185, then in real life, your equalized heart rate would be 200 in game. So that way you can tell if there's age and fitness levels. Is how you can tell the relative physiological effect on your competitors. You can just run down the heart rate list and say, like, how much gas is it taking for these guys to put out this effort? And how much gas is it taking for me to put out this effort? What do I know about my competition? What do I know about their capacity to suffer? What do I know about my own capacity to suffer? Can I hold 195 equalized heart rate? Can I hold 178? It looks like Modi's kind of going into a, I wouldn't call 178 recovery for anyone but Modi, but his heart rate is coming down despite doing a threshold effort here. And that's because he's an absolute monster beast on the bike, and always puts on a big show, and always races with so much heart here. Side by side, the Team Cognition riders here, Modi on the left-hand side, Luis on the right-hand side, and they are coming up on the second half of this climb here, and they have 6.4 kilometers to go. And as they come across the bridge here, they're just like, okay, all right, when is this going to end? They have a headwind, and really you can keep your rider protected here, where the wind resistance that you're taking on, it's not just the wind that you're creating as you move through the air. You drive down the street, you stick your hand out the window of your car, you feel the wind. That's the wind that you create by moving through the air. But then there's also the wind of the environment, and these guys have wind on course. So there's a double-edged sword here, where you have like the wind in it, but it's not at your back, it's in your front. So right now, we see that in the pack here, on the chase pack with Nigel. Nigel's trying to use those AI riders to stay to the inside and get as much draft as he possibly can while he's making this second and final climb on Rocky Mountain. 5.8 kilometers to go for the front group here. Nigel just about 20 seconds back, and he, at this point, he knew, he made a decision that he wasn't going to turn his legs and blow up his legs just to try to get those last 2 seconds. And I've been in that position before, where you're like 2 or 3 seconds from closing the gap, and your competition recognizes that's what you're doing, and they just put a nail in the coffin, and then you say, okay, that's fine, I've got 2 more races to make up these points. Right now, Modi sits on top, Nigel and Luis, and then Nigel. So the Team Cognition riders here, you can see them here side by side. Both are saying, I'm going to get through this Omnium. I'm going to stay this race. I'm going to stay focused, because we've got 2 more races in this Omnium. This is the Rocky Mountain course. It's one of our longer courses, and there's a little flat at the beginning, and then the climb is just relentless between 2 and 4%. All the way to the top. It does have a little spot where it flattens out a little bit before it turns up one last time, and then the descent is on. But Modi still 400 equalized watts on the front. Luis there with his teammate saying, I will absolutely take that draft from you. And what you can see here, as Modi is putting the pressure on, 400 equalized watts, and Luis is 330 equalized watts. So you can see the savings right there in the nearby riders list. So you can see that Modi is putting putting down significantly more watts for Louise to go the exact same speed. So tucking into the draft, staying out of the wind. And again, it's not just the wind that these riders are creating by moving through the air. It's the wind that's on course here. So when these tracks and these races are put on the docket for CVRcade World Cup racing, they add environmental things like wind because the climb's not enough. We're gonna just add a little bit of a headwind. It's it's brutal, and you feel it in the legs because these guys are on smart trainers. The smart trainers are feeling the gradients in the road, but they're also feeling the effects of the wind. And when they're sitting here in the draft, we don't see the draft percentages that they're benefiting from, but we do see the percentage of effort that they have to do when they're on the front, how much more someone has to do when they're on the front here. But Luis, again, that high cadence that he's doing, you can see he's in game audio. He's chatting with Modi right now. Even though their heart rates have come down, they're still working really, really hard. 169 on that heart rate. You can see Kayla does just use her power up here, and she finds herself with the AI riders, with Nigel, maybe trying to work a little bit, dumping that power up, and then she'll slide in and slot into the draft position here. But she did execute a power up. Wasn't sure if she was going to say, "Hey, Nigel, I'll help you," or Nigel was saying, "Yeah, that's okay, Kayla. I'm just gonna, chill." But he does. He's saying something, but I don't read lips. I'm sorry. Oh no, he's saying no. Oh, he's not gonna go, Kayla. Oh, that's funny. I love Zone T is like my favorite zone. I love these Nigel is so animated, and Modi's so animated, and Jennifer's so animated. I have the best time commenting on these races. I'm so glad to be here. Modi here, still over 300 equalized watts there. He does have 172 on that heart rate, 3.4 kilometers to go. And this is what it's looking like, the leaderboard, if they do finish in this position here. Now, they do get points for wearing their matching kits. They do get points for streaming in their preferred zones. They do get points for streaming into the broadcast, into the game. Riders can broadcast both into our broadcast and into the game for everyone to enjoy their racing in this level of competition. So when these racers are outside, you don't get to see their face. They zoom by. You don't get to see their suffering. But this is just absolute human drama that we are watching unfold here on CVRcade. Modi is still 310, over 300 equalized watts, 2.8 kilometers to go. He and Louise are working together to bring it down on the backside here. And like I said, the descent feels really good. You can see those speeds coming up. You can see their watts coming down. At this point, with 2.6 kilometers to go, they don't have the fear that Modi is going to make up that 30-second gap. So they just have to keep their legs firing on pistons. They can't let their legs cool down too much. They need to keep the pressure on just to kind of keep those legs moving and keep them fresh for the next race. So as they come down the hill, 46 kph, they don't have to worry about crashing because there is uncrashable as an ability in this course. On this particular race, but it is 2.5 times on the multiplier because of the duration of this race. So the multipliers are determined by how difficult the race is, or how long the race is, how technical the race is, what environmental factors are at play. And this one, with the wind in your face nearly the whole way, with the 15-kilometer, 16-kilometer 2 laps, and this one does have one of the highest multiplier on the night. So both Modi and Louise are picking up some points here, but Nigel sitting firmly in third. He's going to pick up a good amount of points. So they will finish 1, 2, and 3 on this course, and they will finish 1, 2, and 3 on this so far. Still 2 races to go. So Nigel, you can see up out of the saddle, drops his power up, saying, I'm gonna give a little bit of a push. Don't count me out, guys. So he's decided to use it on the descent here. So he might, I don't know if Luis's Modi are sleeping down there, but Nigel is putting on a little bit of an effort here to see what he can get. He's about 14, 15 seconds back. Does Luis pick up the pace a little bit? Luis does. Modi does put up the pace a little bit. They're like, wait a minute here. We got to add a little bit more speed. Nigel's coming in hot. So there goes Luis on his power up, 580 equalized watts, has a little more in his legs, 1 kilometer to go. Just reminding the anyone who might be chasing him that there's not a lot of road left. I still had a power up. I can kick up that speed pretty quick. You're not going to sneak up on me, especially with Beth talking about you. No sneaking up. But Nigel did and still is putting on some pace there and putting some effort there. 0.7 kilometers to go. Luis on the front, Nigel in the chase here, just about 14 seconds back here. Excellent effort by Nigel. Used the bots just for a little bit of time, then dropped the bot saying, you guys are too slow. What is this, a pizza party? Come on, let's keep moving. This isn't, what are we having, donuts? That's at the end of the race. 0.4 kilometers to go here. Luis, 400, giving us a little bit of a punch at the end. 0.3 kilometers to go, making sure that he comes across the line. Modi has dropped back by a second or two, saying, okay, my friend, this is yours, Luis. I'm going to let you take the max points here. Luis up out of the saddle, comes around the turn here. The finish line is just a little hint away, and he sees it up the way, and he takes it across the line. He's going to take it across, looking pretty relaxed. Going to take a deep breath. He's going to say, okay, I earned that. I worked hard, and you did. He put the hurt down on the first part of that lap. Modi let him go. Then Modi went ahead and closed the gap and finished with his teammate. Nigel coming across the line for third. Well done, Nigel. Super effort by those top 3 riders. Congratulations. 1, 2, 3. A little bit further back, we're going to have Kayla crossing the line. But that is Rocky Mountain. It does look like Jennifer didn't make it to this race. I know we were having some mechanical issues, but here we are on the replay. We did have Luis coming across the line after an early break in the first lap. Modi let him get away. Once it was established, Modi made the effort, bridged to his teammate, and then gave him a massive pull on the second lap. And then that way they could work together, trading some pulls and making sure that they just said, Nigel, you're not going to catch us because we've got 2 in the front trading pulls. Luis, congratulations on that race, an early break, and then Modi came to you. Was that the plan?
Yeah. Well, at the beginning, we always see how things pan out. And, as usual, we always sprint at the start. And I didn't see anyone follow me. So I thought, well, I'll give it a dig, see if it sticks. And then I got to give it to Madi. Like, if you look up the definition of teammate on Wikipedia, it'll say, AKA Madi Pikelny. He's an awesome teammate. He did a massive pull, and I think he's well known among the CVRcade riders as an awesome teammate, and he's done massive pulls for Allison, for myself, for Sebastian, for Daniel. So I worked out this time, and happy with the victory for the team.
Well, congratulations. Yes, we're always seeing Modi bringing it and then giving it his all and giving you a chance maybe to conserve so that you have some legs for these next 2 events. So talk to me through sudden lane change, Luis, after that hard fought those hard fought first few races here, sudden lane change. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this was a tough for me for sure. I've watched a few of the replays and seen some of the strategy from other riders. Allison shared a few tips from earlier today in our Facebook group for the team. So I'll try to follow those. The goal here is just stay consistent and not crash. And if I can do that, then I may end up in a good spot.
Well, congratulations. I'll let you get back into the team car with Modi. Modi, I will check in with you after this race. Great job helping your teammate. You can see here on the earlier, a highlight from some of the earlier racing here where Timothy Tremont did just play this ever so smart. He did that flat tire, came across the line. It's been amazing to watch. We've got Jennifer back, looks like back in the pen here. Hey, Jennifer. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to let you get. Are you getting sorted? I don't want to hold you up.
No, you're fine. I did have some technical difficulties on the last one. For some reason, I was looking at the stream and I was like in it and I was pedaling even though I wasn't in the race and it was going and I was like, what the heck is going on? Because I wasn't actually in the race from my screen, so I thought that was hilarious. But it has resolved. So hopefully this is not my best map, but I've got some tips hopefully that I can use from Aaron. So we'll see.
All right. Well, 30 seconds to go. I'll let you get your head back in the game. And we've got, Jennifer is sitting in fourth place, which is pretty amazing. And so she can still take up some points here in the sudden lane change. 10 seconds to go. I'll check in with Nigel at the end of this race too, but it's going to be Luis, Nigel, Modi, Jennifer, all out of the gate coming in 4, 3, 2, 1, and out they go. Here it is from the helicopter view. And I will tell you that from watching and also racing this earlier, the flat tire just boom, right out of the gate. Oh man, this is what's going to be. But you know what? If you make a crash and someone flat tires, you still have a chance. Like that's kind of what's interesting about the flat tire. It flat tires you and it flat tires your teammates. So I was thinking about that too. It's like, how do you work together with your teammates when you're also flat tiring them? And I think that the Cycling Hub team did that pretty well earlier. So don't let the speeds fool you here. The distance fool you here. 3.5 kilometers to go. Here we are side by side, position 1 and 2. Nigel on the front on the left hand side. Luis second on the right hand side. Left and right, Beth. I have to make the L with my hands to remember. Be dexterous or dyslexic, who knows? But we've got in the yellow jersey, Nigel, right now, currently in first place. He is 5 seconds up the road from Luis. So he's just got to play it calm. He's got to play it collected. And Luis has gone down. You can see his face there. He's talking. He's just got a big smile on his face. He knows what he needs to do here. Here's the replay here. Luis does boom, right back, right smack dab into the thing. He realizes it. He just missed that lane change. And now what's tricky about this course is not only are you watching, the obstacles, but the corner speeds vary depending if you're going left or right. And you need to know before you go into the corner what lane you want to be coming out of the corner. And you can't necessarily change lanes while you're in the corner. You need to be straightened out. So it becomes really tricky because you're anticipating, but you need to be super patient and anticipate at the same time, which is a really weird place to be when you're racing. So you've got Nigel right now on the top of the leaderboard, Luis in second. So if Nigel takes this race, he does scoop up some points and he will kick Luis and Madi down. But Jennifer still will have enough. If she finishes in this position, she will have enough points to be able to maintain that fourth position. But I think that if she can try to increase her position here, that she will be able to come into Summit Islands in a really good place, because even though she didn't pick up enough points from that earlier race, she might be able to scoop up some extra in Summit Island, benefiting from maybe some fresher legs. But she does go down. Luis goes down too. So both of those riders are going down. They're within 1 second of each other. So maybe she can steal some points from Luis there. We will see about that. We've got Nigel out in front, kind of racing this. You can see this replay here with where Modi does just boom. There it is. That was the crash there by Jennifer and Luis there. Modi made his way through. So Nigel is at the front. He's looking relaxed. He knows the name of the game now is to stay focused. He doesn't have to be, he can ride it out a little more patiently. And we've seen Timothy Tremont talk about this. Timothy said, if you can get a lead on one of these tracks that are highly technical, and you can keep that pace, then you're letting other people force the mistake. You ride your race, you ride it relaxed, you ride it smart, and you let the other riders chase and make mistakes. But flat tire in the mix, so every time someone gets flat tired, you see it there. Oh, down to 0, and then up you go. Ah, yes, I know. I think we had 5 or 6 of them in succession. So while those are disrupting sort of your flow, right? Like you have to, change your power. You have to think about your speed. You're not just able to just roll through the course and find that tempo pace that you like. Another flat tire, boom. Oh my gosh. And then these riders have to get back up to speed. But still, if everyone's being flat tired, then Jennifer there uses her uncrashable here, trying to make up some speed. She can see that Modi's just a little bit up the way, and she's like, maybe I can steal some points away. Maybe I can, and then Modi crashes. So you might have a chance, Jennifer. That's the thing. Anything can happen here. But Nigel does have a crash, but he does have a big gap on the competition. So, one of those things that, that he's going to be able to hold on to it there. But Kayla coming back here on sudden lane change. This is also a really good course for Kayla. Kayla gets into the rhythm, into the momentum, and it's amazing. So we do hear that Channel 1 is with us here. Welcome, Channel 1. This is CVRcade Racing. We've got sudden lane change here in Zone T of our 5 race Omnium here. We thank you for joining us here. We've got 0.9 kilometers to go. Nigel on the front here, still holding that lead of 10 or 12 seconds. Kayla trying to chase him down. Modi looking pretty confident, doesn't want to slide out in that corner. It's happened before. He hangs onto it by a thread, changes the lane at the right time, and then we come back here side by side. Luis and Nigel, position 1 and 2 on our current leaderboard right now. Nigel is looking, and 0.6 kilometers to go. Does he hold on to that lead away from Kayla? I think he can. 0.6 to go, but Kayla does the flat tire, and boom, everyone has to start from 0 with the flat tire. That does mean the racers are slowed down to 0. So that's what you're watching when these riders are stopping. They have to pick it back up. But Nigel, again, right at the finish. The smile on Nigel's face it's pleasure and pain right there, because he knows he's got 0.4 kilometers to go. Get me off this course. I've worked so hard. I've raced this brilliantly. I've watched my competitors make the mistakes. I'm going to go through the pylons here, and I'm going to try to just make these last 2 corners to get myself to the finish line ahead of Kayla, ahead of Modi, ahead of Luis. And this is just 0.2 kilometers to go, and I think he's going to hold on to it. He comes around, he uses uncrashable, says, I'm not going to take any chances. I don't even want to think about it. I just want to come across the line. I want to take the win. I want to take the points, and he does it. Congratulations, Nigel. He holds that out. And as Timothy Tremont has said, you get the early lead here, and then you hang on to it and force the mistakes of others. And that's exactly what he did. He forced the mistakes of Luis and Modi, who are about to come across the line now. Kayla did take second. Modi takes third, and then Luis will take another flat tire right at the end. All right, so that puts Nigel back on top, Luis in second, and Modi in third. Kayla moves her way up the leaderboard to 4th place. And this is the replay here on the finish here by Nigel Doyle, who had an early lead, overcame those flat tires, did not let that disrupt his flow. I would say, I think he had 1 crash. Other than that 1 crash, it was a near perfect race for Nigel. He knew what he was doing. And then we back on board here. We are seeing Modi's finish. He did come in a little bit further down. Nigel, congratulations on sudden lane change. That was pretty awesome to witness and to watch.
Oh, that was hard.
I think out.
Yeah. Hello.
This was earlier we saw on Summit Island Team Cognition. This is one of the hardest races to get to Summit Island. 3 laps coming into it. What are we going to see on Summit Island?
Oh, it's hard. 3 laps. That's tough. It could be one where somebody gets a breakaway and they're very hard to, catch up to. Could see a bit of crashing.
All right. Well, we did just play the replay there. So we have on Summit Island 2 Razor's Edge, 2 weightlifted, 2 minutes to go. How do you think those power-ups are going to play out in this next race?
I think people might use a couple at the start and save a couple for the last lap. 3 laps, this is tough.
It's tough. Well, we did see you on Rocky Mountain earlier today. We did see you have maybe a little bit in the tank there. Maybe your competition had maybe punched their legs out a little too hard in Rocky Mountain. What do you think?
I hope so. Yeah. And yeah, you can't sit in with the bots on this one. You've got to go for it.
You do. And then, all right, we're going to check in here with Jennifer Garcia. Jennifer, you are ready to roll on Summit Island in this sudden lane change. I think you did pretty well on this map. We're watching the replay here of Modi at the finish here. Did have a crash early on, wasn't able to take it with Nigel, but you were steady, Freddie. It seems like you came across feeling pretty confident coming into this race, Summit Island. What are you thinking?
Oh, this is going to be brutal. I usually do pretty poorly on some lane change, so I was definitely happy with that outcome, even though I wasn't top 3. But this one, you can get really excited because you have that downhill in the beginning, and you can get like a big break on. But the second you get to that uphill climb, and we're doing it 3 times, it's really tough. So we'll see how everyone is doing mentally at the end of this race.
Gotcha. We got 45 seconds to go right now as we finish watching just the gameplay play out, sudden lane change. We've had 4 races. We've got the 5th race coming up, Aquavello, mountain bike course by Jesper, Rocky Mountain, sudden lane change, and now Summit Island. This is one of the courses that was created by one of our community members, and it is insane. And it's been a back and forth between Nigel, Luis, and Modi. Luis and Modi are teammates. If you're just joining the racing, Nigel's Team CCC holding his position there, and we start this race in just about 7 seconds. They're going to come out of the gate, down the hill on that tricky descent that Jennifer was describing, and making sure that they don't let too much time get between them on the first front part of this race, because if you do, those gaps can open up. And one of the riders earlier today, I think, and I won't name any names, could have been me, mistakenly thought they only had 1 of each power up, but they have 2 of each power up. So this is going to be important because you have 3 laps, but 2 of each power up. So when you use those power ups, it's going to be very important, particularly if someone is making a break, if someone has a crash, like we just saw there that Anish did go down here. But right now, if they finish in these positions with Nigel on the top, who has activated his power up, Luis on the chase here, couple seconds back, it goes down the hill, and then it goes up this little punchy climb. He had to use his the razor blade power up, which makes you very thin and aerodynamic. So you cut through the air, and you have less of that wind resistance that we've been talking about. So you can come up to speed a little bit faster here. So he is closing down that gap on Nigel. Position 1 and 2 here. This is the Omnium finish is going to come down to this race. Will it be Nigel? Will it be Luis? Modi was riding for Luis here in the earlier races, so he does have a teammate to help him out on those climbs and to help. Whoa, it does look like Luis has gone down on that corner. Nigel is looking pretty satisfied that he navigated that okay, but here is the replay, and he just slid out a little bit too much on that corner. That does get trickier because it gets tighter and tighter, and he's got a little bit of time to make up, but that does open the door for Jennifer here, who's also with Modi, trying to get to that front position here. Jennifer earlier had a mechanical. She's using here her razor's edge before she comes, as she comes through the chicane and is going to come back up the climb. She uses that momentum to come up over and in front of, but she does have too much speed on that corner. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it before at that exact same spot. But I thought you timed it better than I did. But Nigel's still out in front. She's going to get herself spun back up. She has that second power up that she can use to try to regain it. Here's the replay here. She used razor's edge, does overtake, but she does carry too much speed ultimately in that corner. When you're trying to make up time, that's what can happen. You can overcook it. But it does look like on the front, Modi has overtaken. It does look like Homer came out to play to help his teammate here in this last race of the Omnium here. Nigel, there's a leaderboard right here. If you were to look at the finishing positions, it does look like Nigel would still finish on top with Modi in second and Louise in third. So we will have to see how the streaming points shake out, the preliminary results there on screen. But Nigel does not want to lose connection with his teammate up there. He says, I could use some help, Homer. Homer is a steady wheel to follow. He's awesome to have in the race with you. And if he can make connection with Homer and shift the balance a little bit, because it's been Modi and Luis working together, and Nigel the lone CCC rider, Jennifer the lone CVRcade rider, just the way that schedules worked out tonight. So there wasn't a lot of teamwork here, but Modi drops his weight lifted here as he comes to the top of the climb, trying to take advantage. Jennifer just coming to the inside, a little bit steeper on the inside than it is on the outside on these corners. You do have a shorter distance to travel, but it does mean the road's a little bit steeper as you come up the climb. And this is just one of 3 laps, but on the descent, we do have Homer out in front, 3 or 4 seconds up the road from Modi. Modi is coming down the climb. You can see the speeds 52, 56, 58. They do have to watch the speed coming into that first corner. We know that Modi has been studying all of these speeds. He does know where he needs to slow down. Slows down 51, 52. I think you can take that one at 54. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to be the reason anyone crashes, but I'm pretty sure that's the speed there. Modi does use his power up, trying to get a little bit of distance behind Nigel. Nigel might just be letting him go, because if you look at the leaderboard, it does look like even if Modi finishes in front of Nigel, that he will take the night. So he did make up enough, I think, points in the earlier race in the sudden lane change to maybe secure that position there on the top of the board. And Luis there, if he finishes in that position, it will be second. But this is a race where there is crashing. Uncrashable is not an ability. So, people, if Jennifer overtakes Luis, if someone has something unexpected happen, it could disrupt the way those points are distributed. And I am not going to do the math in my head, because I'm not good at math in my head. So I don't know what particular exact thing would have to happen, but I think it's Nigel's looking pretty good here if he finishes ahead of Luis. So he does need to hold that position. So if Luis does finish in front of Nigel, he looks like he's fighting back. That could disrupt the points a little bit there. So side by side here, CCC rider on the left hand side, and that was Luis on the right. Back on board with Jennifer here, just a few seconds back from Luis. And she's putting in a little bit of a dig here on the second lap. 3 kilometers to go. Again, never let the racetrack, the course distance, make you think that these races are short or easy, because this particular course has like the climb at the finish line, 10, 11% grade, where these riders are just absolutely running out of gears to be able to turn at the final. And you can see here on board with Modi, who is making that little final bit of the climb on the second lap. Back on board with Louise, who does drop razor's edge here, trying to make up some time to get back to Nigel here. He's just about 5 seconds back. He's putting in 475 equalized watts. Nigel at threshold as well. You can see up the road, they're closing the 3 gaps right now. Luis is like saying, nope, I can do this. I can do this. I'm going to try to take as many points as I can away from Nigel on this final climb. Homer out in front, 2.5 kilometers to go for Homer, who's about 13 seconds up the road from Modi. So he didn't really come in necessarily and help Nigel out in the way that we might expect. But he does end up taking some points off of the rest of the board by finishing in first place, if he does, in fact, finish in first place. So Nigel here does activate his weight-lifted power up, trying to keep that gap on Louise. He's just about 3 seconds above in front of Louise, and these two side by side here. These racers are just in a world of hurt now. Like they both look focused, and they don't, like, for the amount of suffering that they've done tonight, they look pretty good. I feel like I was like, came out of like the law. You do look good, Nigel. You might not feel it, but just 2.1 short kilometers to go. I'll say that the final climb, you can see their avatars are slowing down. This is the replay here. He's telling me, no, Beth, no, I don't. They're coming up across the finish line, which is brutal. You can thank your teammate, Ben, who designed this course. And then you can thank the CVRcade team for coming up with just this brutal omnium in preparation. This is Zone T of the bracket season here. We had 2 races earlier today. We race every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. If you like what you see, if you like what you're watching, click the follow button. And follow us and watch these races every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We are going to be gearing up. This is a points race, getting as much points as you can across the omniums. Right there, you see the leaderboard. Nigel, Luis, and Modi, 1, 2, 3, back on board with Jennifer, making that second climb at the finish line. And she has 1 lap to go, but she is going to stay strong and fight it out to the end. Homer still in the front with 1.4 kilometers to go, but Modi did overtake Nigel. Luis is trying to close back in. Does kind of just doesn't flip-flop. 46. I'm looking at the scoreboard. It still keeps Nigel on top here, but Luis dumps his Razor's Edge power up, saying, I'm just so close. I'm just so close. I know I could do this. So now they're coming on that little flat part before the descent. Here with 1.1 kilometers to go. Modi's looking pretty relaxed here, trying to just hold off Nigel for his teammate. So you can see it's Modi just 1 second there with Nigel coming around the side here, making sure they don't slide out ever so lightly on that brake, steps to the inside, knows the right position to be. Homer on the front, drops his weight lifted, saying, I'm just going to finish this thing out here. 0.7 kilometers to go for him. A little bit further back here with Nigel and Luis and Modi, which has really been the story of the night. These guys have been duking it out, matching each other blow for blow. And then it's all going to come down to this final finish. They come through the chicane, which can be tricky. So if someone makes a mistake here, that could be expensive, but it doesn't look like these guys are going to make that error. We do have a weight-lifted power up there being dropped by Luis, giving him ever so slight advantage. And Nigel says, that's okay. I'll just hop on your wheel. I'm going to just try to see if I can take that magic carpet ride for all I can. And it does look like back on front, Homer uses his Razor's Edge. Louise uses his second weight lifted here. Modi coming up around the corner here, coming around the rider here. Modi saying, okay, Louise, go. Ceding to Louise here. But Modi did come around Nigel. And it does look like that will disrupt the leaderboard and put Louise in top here. Come on, Nigel. And then Homer dropping his Razor's Edge to come across the line here. But Louise here, 3 seconds ahead of Modi. Nigel dropping back 7 or 8 seconds here. It does put Louise on top and overtake Nigel here by that disruption. Modi and Louise both finishing in Nigel. That was the math I couldn't do in my head, but there it is. And Louise says, okay, I've just got a little bit more to follow across the line here. but Luis has to hold his position now. Modi has to finish in front of Nigel. So the two of these finishing in this position does disrupt the leaderboard. Side by side, it's been a fight between Nigel, between Luis, Modi doing his part, saying, okay, if I can just take a few more points away from Nigel and knock him down and help my teammate out. Ever the teammate is Modi Pekelny. And Nigel still digging in for the final thing. His final part of this climb, which is brutal. You can see them coming up around that turn. Finish line in sight for Luis. He does kind of come across the line. Nigel puts a last little dig in, tries to get around. Modi is still ahead, and that is how it's going to be. Hand in the air by Modi. And geez, that is Nigel. Right, go. Cross the line. It's just the killer. That is such a course. Like 2 laps is plenty. 3 laps is like, I think Timothy Tremont said 3 laps is demonic. I think that was the word he used, which in my book means demon-like. And I would say that it is demon. So here is the effects. Luis's head was down, just trying to get the replay across the line, and takes a sigh and puts his head down in a deep breath, like, thank goodness that is over. Modi's hand goes in the air, knowing that that last little effort on that last half a kilometer of the climb did upset the apple cart there, take Nigel off the top step, put Luis on the top step, but still a valiant effort for that second place by Nigel. And in helping his teammate, Modi is in third. Luis, congratulations on the night.
Thank you. As usual, Modi, awesome. Couldn't have done it without him. He's always encouraging. Anytime I crash, he's always like, you can make up the time on the climb. You can make up the time on the climb. And, just put my head down, try to keep the power up, just keep it up, and it turned out well in the end.
Well, I think even when teammates aren't right side by side, that encouragement in the team car makes a world of difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. One of the coolest things about the having a teammate and the platform CVRcade is that we can actually talk to each other. Even on Rocky Mountain, we're just taking turns, he's talking to each other. Let's put a dig. When we saw that Nigel was trying to come back, we were just like, okay, let's put a dig now and make sure we keep this gap. So that's an awesome tool to have.
Well, congratulations. I will let you cool those legs down. Well done on this Omnium finish. You can see Nigel here coming across the line. Hard-fought battle by Nigel against the Team Cognition riders. Nigel, how are you feeling after that 5-race Omnium?
Warmed up. Yeah. I'm dripping.
I think that's how we all feel. So the night started early with Aquavelo. Take me through your thoughts on the evening. We had an early win by Jennifer on Aquavelo, and you kind of just chipped away at the points throughout the night. Talk me through that.
Yeah, the first race I had hoped to do better than I did, but Jennifer, that was just a masterstroke what she did. Well played there. Second race, I wasn't sort of making any ground on the 2 ahead, so I thought, well, I'll sit in with the bots because the bots were only a couple of seconds behind. And then just a couple of K towards the end, I thought, well, I'll just go for it and try and drop the bots. And Kayla was in there as well, so leave her. And I'd hoped to do well on sudden lane change, and that worked pretty well.
It did work pretty well for you. And this finish that we're watching here on the replay on Mountain Bike Course by Jesper was incredibly well executed. You could see on Louise's face that you could see the look on your face of joy and the face on Louise where he knew he just wasn't going to catch you. And then when you were on Rocky Mountain, you had the team cognition sort of splitting and you had some communication, which was lots of fun. What were you thinking at that point, knowing that you had a couple more races to go?
Well, I was thinking, gosh, they're going hard. Maybe if I just conserve energy, I'll have a bit left for the last couple of races. But Moti and Luis did pretty well on this last race, so they still had a bit left.
Yeah, I think that they had a bit left because on Rocky Mountain, you did not have the benefit of a teammate. But both we did see on the replay here that Luis and Moti were able to trade those poles. They were able to take turns and rest. So even though they got that early lead that was made by Luis at the front and getting that did result in a win on that particular stage. But they probably came across a little more rested than you would expect by the effort because they were able to take turns in the draft. But sudden lane change, my friend, that was pretty brilliant with the flat tires. How did that feel for you on sudden lane change coming right on the heels of Rocky Mountain?
Oh, very pleased with that. That went almost to plan. I had one crash, but I had enough time up my sleeve that it didn't really matter in the end. So I've practiced that one a bit. That course, it's as you were saying in the commentary, you get into a rhythm, and if you just get into a rhythm, and if you sit at a certain speed, I was sitting on about 40k, and you just get in a rhythm, and it all goes really well.
Well, you did a fabulous job of not letting the flat tires disrupt that rhythm, because that was the one thing that I noticed is sort of if you crash, you have to accelerate, you have to come up to speed and force the mistakes of others. You had an early lead on sudden lane change. Was there ever a point with that lead that you were like worried, or did you just kind of stay on the line in that calm place?
No, I thought I'd be okay. I watched the replay of the earlier races, and I think one of the I can't remember which one, they saved all the flat tyres till the end. No one dropped it at the start. And I thought, well, why don't I drop mine at the start, get up to speed, 40k first corner, and then drop it.
Well, that
get a lead on everyone.
That strategy played to your favor. And then trying to keep it together for the final race on Summit Island, designed by your teammate with the 10-11% grade at the end. 3 laps demonic is what we've heard it called.
1 lap too long for me. Three laps too long.
Yeah, right. There was some. They tried to sneak in an extra race of this Omnium. Well, Nigel, great racing. You put on a great show against Luis and Moti. Seeing you guys side by side, duking it out to the very end. Congratulations on some great racing again tonight. And we heard from Louise. We heard from you, Nigel. Moti, if you're still standing by, talk me through your night. I always love to hear your thoughts from the team car, if you're available.
Yeah, that was great. Wonderful racing. Congrats to Luis. Congrats to Nigel. Really great effort to Luis coming back from that crash. Nigel, we were playing every trick in the book, and he was racing single-handed for most of it till Homer came in on that last race, and he really raced expertly. That his performance on sudden lane change, people should study. He executed perfectly, and there was a lot of luck there on Summit Island for us to be able to finish in those 2 spots to deny him the podium. It was really close, and he, his performance was really incredible. I'm amazed we were able to pull that off. It was good teamwork, but Nigel is a fierce competitor, and I wouldn't have, if we had to do that again, I don't know if I'd put money on us. He's a great racer. That was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun to watch. Great teamwork as always. Modi, thanks for sticking around to be available for this interview late at night. We are going to wrap up the night with some great racing. Thank you all for joining us here on CVRcade. We had a great time. A 5-race Omnium for Zone T with some of my favorite racers to comment on. Thanks, guys, for bringing the fun. We will see you again later on this week. We race every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So we will see you on Thursday for more CVRcade racing. If you want to play the game, CVRcade.com, and don't forget to follow us here so you don't miss any race. We'll see you next time.
But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.